Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video we're going to be doing a little bit of technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets because as you can see before you on your screen, Bitcoin has broken bearish out of that triangle consolidation pattern which we were discussing in yesterday's video. I talked about in that video about how we were very likely to see some kind of more major breakout. I didn't call which direction I thought it would break out, but I did warn that it's very possible that what we would see Bitcoin do is have a false breakout and then fall straight below the uptrend of support, and it seems that's exactly what's happened here. Bitcoin has finally seen some movement. Bitcoin's been trading sideways here for nearly 2.5 weeks, and we really haven't seen a whole lot happen in the Bitcoin market. This is definitely one of the largest movements we've seen in a little while, so we're going to be talking about that in today's video. I'm going to be breaking down why I think Bitcoin broke this way and what this says about the bullish and the bearish sentiment in the market, and then zoom out and do a little bit of longer-term technical analysis based on the price action that we have just seen happen. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Bitcoin for the last several weeks has been trading somewhere around the support and resistance level of $6,400. That's pretty much been the median of all of this trading over the last couple of weeks, and that has finally broken. One more thing that you can see on the chart here is that Bitcoin did have some strong support here around $6,360. We saw Bitcoin come down here several times and test levels of support right over here, and right over here before actually staying above it on this uptrend for some time over here. We finally broken below that. I did say about 2 weeks ago that I didn't think this would hold indefinitely and that we probably were going to break it and pull back down to this uptrend, and it seems that I was right, although it just took a little bit longer for that to happen than I thought it did. But nevertheless, we have broken this level of support, and Bitcoin is now trading quite a bit lower, around $6,276. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that this isn't a very big movement percentage-wise over the last 24 hours in comparison to Bitcoin's total valuation. Bitcoin hasn't moved that much, but in comparison to the very low volatility that we've seen in the last couple of weeks, this is actually a very major development compared to what October has looked like so far. Of course, we did have this little inverted Bart Simpson pattern here over here in the first half of October, but overall October and the last part of September, actually most of September, has seen very, very low volatility, which of course we've been talking about is characterizing the accumulation phase that I believe we're in. Let's go ahead and get on to the crypto market recap. We do have to look at a couple of altcoins here also, so we'll go ahead and do that. Bitcoin is trading across all exchanges just under $6,400 for the first time in quite some time. This has been reading just about this price action or just a little bit higher for quite some time, around $6,400 to $6,500. Since Tether hasn't totally actually no, I take that back. Overnight, Tether has actually corrected itself, but we still see that there's a bit of a discrepancy in between Bitfinex price action and Coinbase price action, likely because arbitrage hasn't closed that gap all the way. But that is an interesting development that I didn't notice before I started recording this. Tether has actually completely corrected itself. The other day when I looked at this, it was about 5 cents away from correcting itself. Excuse me, it was about 0.5 cents away from correcting itself. Tether has now finally come back to $1. I talked about how I didn't think Tether was just going to go and implode on itself. It didn't really seem what was most likely to me, and that it looks like that's the case. Tether hasn't actually gone and exploded. Anyway, Bitcoin's daily volume is hovering just under $4 billion. Normally, Bitcoin was trading around hovering around $4.5 billion of daily volume for quite some time, but we've seen volume continue to drop off. I've shown you this, guy. I've shown you this on the monthly chart several times. We've seen volume drop off in quite a substantial way here over 2018, and that does characterize the end of this bear market and the beginning of this accumulation phase that we've been discussing here. Let's go ahead and go back to the hourly chart. Like I said, Bitcoin's only down by about 1.2%, but that is a major development because that does see a lot of price action coming from the altcoins as well, because if we sort here by change over the last 24 hours, we do see some green. NXT is up by about 13%, but if we scroll down here, we see quite a bit of red, and most of this red is much, much more red than negative 1.2%, because of course, like we've talked about in the past, typically the altcoin markets are correlated with Bitcoin, and they tend to move in the same direction as Bitcoin, albeit a bit farther, and we see Veritasium being an example of that, down by 10.5%. One thing that we do see is very important in my opinion is that total market capitalization is hovering just over $200 billion. I would like to draw attention to this because we've seen this market come down to this level several times this year and actually go below it down to around $190 billion several times. I would like to see the market stay above $200 billion. That's kind of a pseudo level of support. That's more of a mass psychological level of support than an actual charted level of support. And what I mean by that is that if the market does go below $200 billion market valuation, then that's definitely not exactly something that is bullish. People don't want to see that happen, and people are going to, in one way or another, defend this. We've seen the same thing happen on Bitcoin with what's known as the Hoffman line of $100 billion market capitalization for Bitcoin. But as you can see, Bitcoin and total cryptocurrency market cap has definitely been stagnating here and trading sideways, but we've seen it drop off just a little bit here in the last couple of hours. Anyway, if we come back out here to the chart, I do want to point out Ethereum is trading just above $200 and has a daily volume of around $1.3 billion. I expect both of these numbers are going to, both of these volume figures for Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to start climbing up over the next couple of hours on into the rest of the day. I'm recording this. It is currently 8:37 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so most of the West, parts of Europe, but mostly North America is currently waking up, and I think a lot of this movement that we've seen is going to be exacerbated over the rest of the day as we see a lot more people realizing what exactly is going on here. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get back on into the technical analysis. Like I said literally yesterday's video. In yesterday's video, I was talking about a triangle pattern, this one right here on Bitcoin, and I also pointed one out on Ethereum right here, as we can see if we zoom out. I pointed out both of these triangle patterns and talked about how the market may break out of them. And one thing I said in that video is that you have to be very careful because of what we just saw. If you go back to the beginning of this video, sorry for a bit of a tangent, if you go back to the beginning of this video, you'll see that Bitcoin was not trading that far down. As you can see in the last minute or so, Bitcoin has lost about $40 of valuation. I just noticed that. But anyway, what I was saying is that you have to be very careful about these triangle patterns, because while I kind of thought they would break bullish, I wasn't really convinced. I was thinking that it's kind of just going to go either way. I was 50-50 on this triangle pattern, to be totally honest. I wasn't exactly sure. That's why I didn't make a call on this one in yesterday's video. I said that even if it does break bullish, you have to be careful of the market breaking bullish and then faking out and breaking bearish. And the example I used was actually on Ethereum some time ago. We're seeing the market move quite a bit more now that I'm recording this. Good thing I'm recording right now. But we saw something similar happen to Ethereum a little while ago, where we saw Ethereum was in a triangle consolidation pattern right here. This goes back a little bit further, but it's not really that important. This goes back to here, but what we saw Ethereum do is it broke bullish, and then it broke bullish, and then it came back and broke bearish. Again, we had a little false bullish breakout, and I warned of the same thing happening on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it looks like that's exactly what's happening here. As you can see, we have this little blood fall of red here following Bitcoin finally getting some movement, and I had a feeling this was going to happen. I had a feeling this triangle consolidation pattern here was going to be some kind of catalyst for a bit more volatility to return to the space, because really, for the last 2.5 weeks or so, the bulls and the bears have been in a deadlock. They've been trying to move the market, and it's just been a stagnant market. It's been an accumulation phase, and that's exactly what we were expecting to see. And as I talked about earlier on in the video, what I was expecting Bitcoin to do now that it has broken the support level here at $6,360 is I was expecting it to pull back to this uptrend, and it looks like that's what's happening right here before us. We saw that wick come down here just a little while ago, and now the bulls are starting to push it back up. You can see the market moving in real time. One thing I do want to point out is that if you guys are watching this during the premiere, this is not live. This is a pre-recorded video. I want to make that clear because some people that are watching during the premiere think this is a live stream. Unfortunately, I can't live stream just yet, but I am working on a way to live stream over the next couple of months. Look forward to that, but I do want to point that out because this is moving live, so go check your charts. This video will be up a little over 2 hours after it's recorded, but like I said, not because I'm delaying the video upload, but simply because of my internet upload speed. So definitely go check your chart, guys, because it seems like the market is moving pretty quickly right now. But this uptrend of support that it looks like Bitcoin is pulling back to is very, very significant. I've talked about this uptrend of support in many, many videos, and I'm going to talk about it again because it is extremely important. This downtrend of resistance here on the long term, I don't really put that much weight on it anymore because we've traded sideways out of it so many times that it's kind of invalidated. But this uptrend of support down here, I said this downtrend of resistance, excuse me, I think I misspoke. This uptrend of support down here is indeed very, very important, though, because what this constitutes is the trend and the pattern that Bitcoin has been making of setting consecutive higher lows over the last several months. And that's a very, very important deal, guys. I know if you watch the videos daily, you'll probably have heard me say this a dozen times. And I'm going to say it one more time because it's really, really important. Bitcoin making higher lows, every time it comes down and sets a new low, it making a higher low is really, really important, because that is one of the early warning signs. That's a red flag. That's a canary in the coal mine of an impending bull market. And one thing that you have to see for a new bull market to start is the market setting higher lows. You at very least have to see the market setting higher highs. Right now, we're not setting higher highs, of course, but the fact that we're setting higher lows in a time where we're still coming out of a bear market, where the overall market sentiment is still slightly more bearish than bullish, that is a very good sign, and I do think that's very, very important. I think it's more important than some people are giving it credit for. So that's where I think we're going to be pulling back to here. As Bitcoin continues to drop, we're probably going to see Bitcoin fall to support somewhere around $6,200, which would correlate with a touch on this uptrend, and we'll probably see some kind of bounce from there. I don't think it's very likely that Bitcoin's going to fall below this uptrend. I just don't see enough bearish sentiment in the market to push us below such a critical and important uptrend of support. I very much don't think that it's going to be broken, but if it is broken, we of course still have the level of support of $6,000, which I am almost certain will hold at this point. I don't think we're ever going to see a sub $6,000 Bitcoin again unless something major I mean changes. And a good example of the reason that I don't think the bears are as strong anymore is because what we've seen over the last couple of minutes while I've been recording, as you can see, Bitcoin crashed a little bit while I was recording the intro to this video, but it's actually started to bounce a little bit here over the last 4 minutes. Now, of course, you're likely to see something like that. As we saw over here, we saw a little bounce and then we started falling off again. But I think the bulls are definitely the ones that are, if not in control of this market, I don't think they're in control of the market because, yeah, I mean, we saw this happen in 3 minutes. But I think the bulls are definitely a lot stronger now than they were, say, 6 months ago during some of those downtrends earlier on in the year. So what's the main point of this video? Bitcoin was in this triangle pattern. It broke bullish and then it broke bearish. We saw a fake out bullish breakout. Now it's falling to the downside, and we're seeing Bitcoin come down to test support. I can't speak today. Test support at this uptrend of support, and I do believe that that's going to hold, and then we'll likely see Bitcoin start trading sideways from here around $6,200, or start moving up just a little bit back up here to around $6,300 to $6,400. I'm not really calling for any major moves outside of what's just happened here because, like I've said so many times, Bitcoin's basically turned into a stable coin over the last couple of weeks and about the last month and a half or so, and I really don't see that ending very soon until we get some more technical and fundamental catalysts for a new bull market to start. I think the bear market is over. I think the bull market is coming, and I think the only thing separating those two is a little bit of time and a little bit of patience on our part and on the market's part. Tell me in the comment section down below if you guys are interested in or if you guys are going to be staying in this market for the next several months while I think this accumulation phase plays out and we see Bitcoin continue trading sideways here. I think it's probably going to be sometime in early 2019, perhaps the later part of the first half of 2019, quarter two, I should say, of 2019, before we see a major bull run start. I have called before that it'd be starting by the end of February, and so far I do think that that's still a proper prediction. I think that's about right, maybe the end of March. Tell me in the comment section down below if you agree with that sentiment. Before we wrap the video up, we're also going to be talking about Ethereum because Ethereum was another one of these triangle patterns that I discussed in yesterday's video, and it's kind of funny that I discussed both of these triangle patterns yesterday because they're breaking out today. We can see Ethereum here was in a very long-term triangle pattern, and I said that there was more likely a chance that this was going to break bearish. I've already linked the video that I'm talking about in the top right, so if you click the I up here, you can go watch yesterday's video. I was talking about how I think the words I used was, I'm not very confident on this triangle pattern breaking bullish. I'd say there's probably a 60-40% likelihood that this breaks bearish, and that's exactly what we've seen happen here. We've seen Ethereum come down here, and I talked about how Ethereum was trading down here around the uptrend of support rather than the downtrend of resistance, and I was worried that it was going to break bearish. I wasn't really worried because I knew if it broke bearish, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Ethereum has seen much lower prices in the past, and I don't think it would be that big of a deal. I wasn't calling for a major bearish breakout, but I did say that I was thinking that something like this was going to happen, and it looks like that's what happened. That's what was going to happen. I also talked about how I was hoping this $200 was going to hold as a level of support, but I did also say that it probably wasn't going to because we've seen Ethereum breach $200, which you would think would be a strong level of support so many times already. With all that out of the way, guys, there's not a whole lot more that we want to discuss here in the market. We basically covered everything for today's video. Tell me in the comment section down below what you think of this new development in the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space. Do you think this is a good thing for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency because we're bringing volatility back into the space? Do you think it's a bad thing because we're seeing red? Do you guys think we need to see one final flush and go down and continue this red to break below $6,000 and see one final capitulation before we can start a new bull market? I have a video dedicated to that topic. I'll link it in the top right if you guys are interested. Tell me in the comment section down below in general what you think of this video, and if you're watching during the premiere, hello, this is not live. I'm probably in the chat right now speaking with you. Nice to see you guys. I love if you guys don't watch the premiere, whenever the video goes live, you can come to the channel, and if you turn on post notifications, click the bell icon down below, then you will be getting notified that there's a premiere coming, and you can come watch the video go live with me and about 200 friends. So that's definitely pretty fun. If you guys are interested in learning how to do technical analysis in the way that I do technical analysis, there is definitely a very good way to do that, and in my opinion, it is the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, linked in the description down below. If you guys want to learn how to do TA, go ahead and click that link and you can see all the videos we offer. There's going to be a lot more videos coming in November when I actually... Oh, well, there's going to be a lot more videos coming in November. There's some stuff going on behind the scenes, but there's a lot more content going to be coming to that in a little while, and I definitely believe that's a very good product, so go check it out in the description down below. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!